Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it is rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected by me, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we do have Ranty and Anthony, Sleeping Warrior, with us already. How you doing, guys? Good to have you.
All is good. All is good. Better than yesterday.
Jolly good. In good spirits. Excellent. How about you, Anthony?
All is good. Another day, another dollar.
Indeed you do. Did you catch Jaren's video?
No.
Not yet.
I told you about it, so I might as well fill the audience in. Check out Jarenism, and you'll see his expose on SpaceX, basically distorting history and changing things that have happened in a live feed. So check it out. Just outrageous, basically.
FE Clown show up and running, so says Mark Taylor. Well, I've only got one thing to ask him then. Why the hell is he even here?
It's like the attention.
He does, doesn't he? He's a very sad individual.
Are you guys reading the chat?
So Jarenism. What was his video about, basically? What was the exposing part? 'Cause I have seen the SpaceX launch and landing.
Well, I actually forwarded him on the video you linked to me, which was from Guardian News or something similar. And in Guardian News, you'd pointed out to me, Ranty, that they'd got a duplicate feed. And the host had said, oh, well, there's a replication of the feed, but that's just a representation of what it would look like. But SpaceX obviously took a bit of umbrage to that error and went and edited it out. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Hello.
You just pop your watch page on mute. Good to have you here, Jim. What can we do for you?
Oh, he sniped Ranty.
Really? What bastard? Oh, he sniped everybody. Oh, wonderful. Within 3 seconds of starting the Hangout. Well, there'll be a short interlude short intermission, I should say, while I start a brand new Hangout. That was a bit of a waste of time. I think that is definitely a record, 3 minutes. Need some elevator music. Girl from Ipanema, maybe. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Should be the work of but a moment. Right, screen share my little sunset video. And the link. I've put the link in the Masturbators feed. If anyone wants 10 minutes of uninterrupted chat without any trolls, I'm not going to publish the link for at least 10 minutes in the chat feed, as it seems that there's a sniper that just doesn't want the show to continue. But there is a new link, which I'll publish to the friendly people on Skype, at least for the next few minutes. And then I'll put it in the link in the info box once a decent chat starts up. Hello again, Ranty.
Hello. Good to be back.
That was a record.
Certainly was. I think it was, what, less than 5 minutes?
Less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think that was a new tactic because it had somebody's voice that sounded very familiar when he said hello.
Yeah, it sounded like Dawn Treader, but no point speculating who it may or may not have been. Who cares? Just somebody that doesn't want us talking. Fine. You know, obviously the people who currently want to join just want to end the show, which is fine. We can carry on without you temporarily and invite people who are a bit more pleasant in slightly later. I've got no issue with that. Yeah, so duplicated rocket boosters, basically. They played a slightly cropped version of the same feed twice. And I think Smarter Every Day was tipping his hat to the immense capabilities of the engineers to make those rocket boosters look so identical. Just a technical marvel. No, not at all, mate. They just cropped and cutted the same feed and published it twice.
On the same pad as well. I mean, if you watch it, I was going to upload a video on it, but then I thought, well, there's probably other people that have done it. I've actually made the video. It's like a 2-minute one. And it's basically as the rockets are coming down and you've got the feed and it's showing the left booster and the right booster. You see the landing pad, landing pad 1 come into view. And then it goes out of view and it starts heading for landing pad 2. So both the boosters are heading for landing pad 2. And about 2 seconds later, it cuts to the side on view where they actually land on separate pads. So clearly it was the same feed for the same boosters. You know, for both boosters were using the same feed. So it was just horse manure, basically. I mean, I've never seen rockets that can do that. Anyway, you know, did it even have what's it called, a parachute? I don't even think they had a parachute, did they?
I mean, you might have one as a backup, but no. I mean, they're descending and the rockets are firing, and you know, it's an idiot test, isn't it?
These rockets are free falling from the outer limits of space, tumbling down at probably a couple of thousand miles per hour, and then these rocket boosters get turned on 30 seconds before, and it vertically holds them upright. I mean, the technology involved in that is astronomical. It's I would border on being impossible, and for them to land on a postage stamp, it's just give me a break.
To be honest, when I look at that video, it appears to me that they are aiming that target audience, that propaganda, at the millennial kids, all the kids that were born in the 2000s, like the decade of the 2000s, because they're getting up to like 20 odd now, and they're going to be totally ripe for indoctrination. I don't think it's aimed at us, because if you look at it, it looks very cartoon-like, CGI, like not just the video, the whole setup, the whole like happy clappy. It almost looks like a place of worship where they're all like happy clappers in church kind of thing. That's what millennials are. They're all that kind of left-wing nonsense idiots that don't realize that there's a whole world out there and think that's the way it is on TV. That is the way I read that. I see it as propaganda for the millennials.
No, I'm not a rocket scientist. Arwin's horny goatweed. However, but when a rocket apparently goes up and it's taking 3.5 minutes to get into outer space, and then it gets released, and then it free falls down to the Earth, and it automatically can find its way as it's free falling, and the Earth's, you know, moving underneath it, and it's coming down, and it's going to land on a postage stamp, and it has no other kind of form of mechanism to move it from left or right. The only thing it has to stop it from falling and hitting the ground is a rocket. Are you joking? I mean, anybody who believes that is delusional.
Yeah, it's a test of how stupid you are. I mean, John Le Bon has been making videos along these lines for a hell of a long time, which is to say that if you're presented with the moon landing, for example, it's not like they've positioned it in such a way that it's super realistic. You know, they're leaving it out kind of in plain sight for you to figure out for yourself that it's total nonsense. In other words, they're not really trying to hide it from you. And John Le Bon's side on that is that for all the people out there that think they're super special and super intelligent for figuring it out, it's like, well, no, they haven't exactly done a great job of trying to make it seem realistic. So, you know, don't think you're so special. It's just, if you've got eyes to see, you'll see it.
Is it worth talking about the high altitude photo that Ranty got, Nath?
It's up to you.
I would say absolutely. But can we do it with a different twist?
Do whatever you want.
I want to play the part of a baller. So what I want Ranty to do is present the image. I want him to tell us all about it. I'll play the part of a baller that simply won't accept it, and I'll present the alternative arguments. And then I want Nathan to throw me down and pin me to the floor and pummel me to the face repeatedly until I understand that this is nonsense. So it's role play.
But I don't. Right. Okay. I'm not understanding where you're going with this, but just give me a second to get it up.
I might as well preface it. So there's a bit of an Achilles heel in the Metabunk calculator, which is that as you raise an altitude, the drop figure doesn't change. And the reason is simple. They're pointing their camera at the horizon. Therefore, once anything goes beyond the bulge, you can't bring it back because the camera is always pointing at the horizon. So it doesn't matter how high you go, it's always beyond the bulge. And when you take it to an extreme, they put a nice little disclaimer in the calculator rather than a number. It's brilliant. But anyway, we'll look at the image first. I won't give too much away.
Now, there's two fundamental points to the image. Firstly, we see Ramsey. That's been absent in all of the discussions to date. Now we see it. And not only do we see it, it can be explained for why we can't see it at the lower levels. And it's glorious.
Bear with me.
Have you just sent that to me?
Yeah, I've just put it in the side chat there, just so that you have it.
Okay, it's up on screen now. Can you just click hide on your horrible stop sharing thing? There you go.
Right. So okay. Oh, what we have here is the nose part of the northern part of the Isle of Man. We are at a different position, by the way. I mean, we're looking at it from. Hang on, let me show you if I can get it up on Google Earth.
It's further south, but it's higher up.
Right, okay. Well, basically, we're looking at. There's Douglas. Sorry, not Douglas. There's Ramsey, which would be the town here. But have you seen how small it is? The elevation here is 1,200 feet. I'm looking at this from 1,200 feet, but you can barely see all this land here. It's
That's the curve of the earth, man.
But see this little hump here? Got this little hump there at elevation of around about, was it 34 feet, something like that?
Oh, wow. Is that what I think it is? Is
Yeah,
that the little tiny bit of floating individual land that sticks out on its own?
Yes.
From the lower elevation? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the hills at Bride with the yellow sandstone colour
No,
to it.
no, that's left of it. So in your images from 55 feet elevation, you've got this tiny bit of floaty land to the left of what we call the seashell. That little, that little face of land. Probably, even higher than where you're standing. But the point is that to the left of it in your images from the lower elevations, you've got that piece of land sticking up on its own.
Yeah, I managed to capture that, yeah.
Which is a hell of a problem, but anyway.
I believe that there is the town that they've identified on the northern part of Isle of Man. Can't remember what it's called now. But basically, there isn't very much land that goes across over here. It ends here. That's where it ends, boys and girls. And I think on both Anthony's and my observation, there's the seashell. We've got the hump where it comes down, then we've got the town, and then it tapers off to about here. We're only missing the very, very final part of the Isle of Man here. Anyway, what did you want to say about this? I don't know what you was wanting to talk about with this image.
Well, what I want you to do is plot it on Google Earth, show where the picture was taken from, show the elevation, then get the distance from it, do the curve maths on it, and then tell us that it supports a flat Earth. I'll then say it's a ball, and then Nathan will say, "Actually, Anthony, don't be ridiculous," because I just want to be a retard for a minute or two.
Okay. What do you mean, just for a minute or two?
Oh, I want to be a baller.
That's right, that went over your head.
No, it didn't. I just ignored it.
Anyway, right, so this is your observation
GPS wise, I'm going to have to, it was somewhere around here, I can't remember exactly now. I did have it plotted in before, but my PC crashed and I lost all my data, which is a bit of a bummer. But it was about in this direction anyway, unless you've got it to hand.
Oh, of course, Ranty wasn't privy to this conversation. He left the call when we had this conversation. I see why Ranty's not following along now. So after you left the call earlier this morning, Ranty, we carried on talking about this exact image.
Oh, right, okay.
And
Ranty, I do have the GPS for you if you want it.
Yeah, go on there. But you're going to have to send it me in the side chat because I don't know how to input them in, individually.
Oh, it's a hassle. Right.
It's the hassle of putting it in it?
Right, it's in the green chat next to you, in the the live window.
Oh, this one. Where are we?
Yeah, just copy and paste that into Google and it should take you straight there.
Where?
No, not that one. The green chat. Yeah, that one. Click there.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay.
And for those in chat, if you're thinking of joining, make sure you mute your page and speak quickly.
I haven't put the link out yet. Since we got sniped within
the
3
link's been
minutes of
displayed
broadcasting,
now, so
I've not bothered putting the link back in yet. So for the time being, no one can join intentionally.
Well, I think I put the link up. Just then, I think it was displayed.
No, it weren't. I'm way out of here.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, so here's where I parked up, and this little position here is where I took the image from. I can put a line measurement in there for you. PC's been playing up some rotten the last couple of days. I don't know what's up with it.
Get onto Windows 10 and stop being a bitch.
I don't like Windows 10.
You haven't used it?
You'll love it.
Okay, so we're about 43, 44 miles down here. And the elevation is 1212 in feet.
So we're seeing around the curve of the Earth, Ranty, aren't we?
What, the hyena stuff?
That's what you'd expect to see on a ball, Ranty.
No muck, Taylor, because it's drop that you're looking at.
So what's the mileage?
44 miles.
44 miles. And what's the elevation?
You like asking questions, don't you?
Yeah, because I want this is my bit coming up. We're not getting there yet. But we're seeing around the curve of the Earth there, Ranty.
44 miles.
Oh, so there's no refracted hidden there, Ranty. You'd expect to see that
Right, hold on.
on a ball.
He's got the maths up now, so let's have a look. See what's what.
Yeah, Nathan, there's no refracted hidden, Nathan. It's consistent with a ball, Nathan.
So, as I said in the beginning part, so basically, can you scroll down to the camera, the representation, the depiction, Ranty? Just scroll down a bit. Just scroll down.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Keep going, so we can see there. Here we go. So, as you can see, this camera is always pointing at the horizon.
Which is here. Yay, we've been sniped again.
Oh, have you stopped, Ranty?
Oh, sorry, I thought we'd been sniped.
No, not at all. Maybe if Sleeping Warrior does it, because you don't know where we're going because you haven't had the conversation with us.
No, I haven't a clue what you're talking about.
Fair enough.
So here we go. So yeah, so eye level, yeah.
No, so what it is, Ranty, is if you've put the two values in.
Yeah.
So go up to the top.
Yeah.
Scroll. Yeah, there you go. Now, basically, puppy. Hang on a sec. I'll come straight back.
Okay. I think he's got a sick dog.
No, she's coughing up furballs. There's no furballs. Right. So, what we can see then on that photograph is that you're looking 44 miles, but you're at an elevation of 1212. Right. Yeah. So, what that means is where it says the refracted hidden value, which is what the ballers look at, it says there is no refracted hidden because the refracted horizon is beyond the target distance.
Yeah.
The way that they would interpret that is that there is no refracted. You would expect to see it on a ball
Basically, this is on the limit, isn't it? It's like literally the limit.
Right. So now, if I'm playing the part of a baller, I would say, Ranty, it's what you'd expect to see on a ball, Ranty, because that's behind the curve. You're looking behind the curve.
Okay.
Cue Nathan.
Well, hang on, wait a minute, because we're going back up to St. B's again. What would happen if on this same hill that we come down here, and we went down to, let's say, an elevation, let's say somewhere around, there's the hill. Let's go to this elevation here. The elevation there is at what, 666 feet? Go figure. Right, move it to 665. So if we take an image from there, what do we expect to see?
Well, that's the question, and this is where Nathan's supposed to cue Nathan.
Well, what do you want me to say? I think we've
Well,
pretty much covered it now.
Well, I want you to tell me why. If I assert as a baller that there is no refracted hidden because we're high enough to see behind the curve of the Earth, this is where you're meant to correct me and say, no, that's not quite true.
Well, once it's gone beyond the curve, that's it. If you're pointing your camera at the horizon, it's always going to remain hidden.
But
Okay, so would you agree then that if I went down to 665 feet and I captured an identical image of this from half the elevation?
Well, the easiest way to do it, to demonstrate it, is just to double or triple or quadruple the altitude. So just take it up to even higher, and the drop remains exactly the same.
Because the drop's from your feet level.
So stick in 6,000 feet and see what happens.
Just put a 0 on that, Ranty.
Put a 0 on. See? Nothing's changing.
What, you mean on the drop?
Yeah,
I'm
stays
talking
exactly
about
the
the
same.
refracted hidden.
So what? No, forget the refracted hidden. What they're saying is, because the camera is always pointing down at the horizon, the drop figure is always going to be beyond that point that you point the camera at. Hence, it never changes. Adam went through this. I did an interview with Adam, and he explained that, obviously, as you rise in altitude, the drop should increase. But according to Metabunk, it stays exactly the same, because they angled the camera towards the horizon in this calculation. Not that anybody has ever done this ever, and when they ever come up with an example, they come up with the example of the virtual horizon a couple of degrees below the actual horizon in an aeroplane. But according to Metabunk, you're constantly angling your camera down further and further, and if you go back to Google Earth, at elevation, you see a curve, as I was trying to explain yesterday on the debate. It's like, if you're going to accept that when you go so high, you can see, like they did in the SpaceX footage, a ball, you also have to accept that as you raise in altitude, you see more of a ball. It becomes more and more and more curved.
Well, I did some analysis on those boats that I displayed yesterday, and what I found is that the lowest elevation...
Ace.
Hello?
Do it again, that was ace. Just do it again,
Yeah,
why not?
At the lowest elevation, the points of the masts, they were actually longer at sea level than they were when I was up at elevation of about 60 feet. And what that tells me is that not only is it changing, because obviously you get further down, so you're looking up at the masts. You're looking up at the masts, you're not looking down at the masts. Like Mick West would tell you, you have to look down.
And then all the ballers would say, Ranty, you are looking down, but it's such a small amount that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And then I would say,
looking at the horizon, the boat's on the horizon.
And then I would ask them, how much down would you be looking if you wouldn't notice it? And then often the word that they use is the word negligible. And I say, oh, like refraction, you mean? How you bend all the hell out of refraction to be able to see stuff that we're not meant to see. Yet it is clearly defined as the word negligible. But when it comes to looking at the angle of the horizon, they want that negligible bit to be minuscule. Isn't it funny how they move the goalposts?
It is.
Nath, the guy that came in and swiped us all, did you
Yes.
recognize his voice?
No. I'm not even going to
Weasel.
pretend that I recognised his voice. But clearly that's the new trick. Come in and say hello, then say nothing. And snipe everyone.
He's a weasel.
Well, that's the chance you take, in it, because you've got an open platform to people to come in and discuss this kind of stuff.
It's about to be open again, so I'm about to publish the link.
Okay. So expect them all to come in. Well, do you want me to show you that boat again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good opportunity, because you've already done it once. So even if people come in and do happen to snipe you out, then you've already made the example once. Hey, Owen, how you doing?
Hey, Nathan. I'm
Yo.
doing okay.
Let me know when I'm displaying.
That's
Give me
interesting.
30 seconds.
I'm guessing that Arwin didn't get the link. He got the link to the masturbators chat, yeah?
Correct.
That's okay.
Well, the link's now public anyway, so if you did want to join, be sure to mute your watch page before you join. Say a quick hello. Let us know that you are a real person.
I'm not a snide slime ball.
Oh,
That's weird.
What?
See Arwin in the thingy.
Am I displaying?
what?
No, Owen's here.
No, I'm here.
Hey, Flat As, how you doing? Just here to snipe everybody, I assume.
Nope. Yeah.
You see, we recognise the snipers' names now.
Am I displaying, Nathan?
You are?
Oh, I am, right. Okay, you didn't tell me I was. Right,
Sorry.
okay. So, yeah, I think there's 4 images on here. I've actually got 5. I've actually got, I think, 14 different images of these. I just put these together because it was just something quickly to do yesterday. But it's like the TARDIS. You can actually watch it fading out. Can you see how it starts disappearing, and then it's disappearing some more? And all I'm doing is lowering my elevation. I'm going lower and lower. But the masts are staying a constant height above the ocean. Apart from, they do gradually go smaller by the smallest amount that you can possibly think of. Bigger. When you go down to the lower elevation, which is consistent with you changing your angle of view looking at these boats. It's not consistent with anything other than going over a curve, because it just doesn't happen. This is the boat on the horizon from 60 feet. And this at 1.7 meters, taken about 4 minutes afterwards, when I got down to the sea. Look at that, beautiful. The boats aren't going over the horizon; they're just blending into this mirage, crappy air, the vanishing point or the vanishing line. Because some people took a bit of a offence to the word point, because it's not a point. They're saying it's actually a line. Well, I'm glad that the ballers have agreed that it is actually a vanishing line as opposed to a vanishing point. It saves me having to make that up. And there we go. We can't see the boat. We know it's there because the masts are in the same place. We just don't see the boat. It hasn't gone over the horizon. It's there, but it's just this air that's in the way. This vanishing line is not allowing our eyes or the camera to penetrate it and see what we can see from a higher elevation.
In essence, the height of the boat that you can see is dictated by the height you're at, and if you are below that point, you lose that portion of the boat. Simple. So in the case of Morgold Lighthouse, when you go to a slightly lower elevation, you're too low to see it. You go back up and there it is. Simple.
Well, effectively, it's like this, right? If you're on a hill, right, you're on your hill there, and there's your boat. Well, there's the crappy air. There's the band of crappy air that's sitting on the sea, right? Underneath it, I'll put the sea as well. Sorry if this is it's only gonna take a couple of minutes to show you this, but I think it's worth showing.
It's good. This is exactly the reason why we can't see Ramsey. It's not due to the curvature. It's due to what sits on the horizon.
Well, there we have the sea, right? There we have the band of crappy air above it. And lastly, I'm going to put a little boat on. I don't know, just something like that. There's the boat, right? So I'm just going to stick it there. So when you're up here, so when Anthony's up there and he's looking at it, and then when Anthony's...
Hey, Dawn Treader, just joined to leave and snipe, have you? Wonderful.
Okay, so when he's looking down at the boat from this elevation, he's avoiding looking through all this mucky air. Looking down.
Sorry.
Hey, Dawn Treader, can you hear us? Can you say a quick hello?
Looking through.
Hello. Sorry.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay.
I'm a giraffe.
So he's avoiding looking through all this mucky air. He's only looking through a very small fraction of it here, the last part of it, because he's looking down into the boat. Has he lowered his
channel.
elevation?
Look like a snipey snipe channel as well. Let's get rid of you.
Right, so as he lowers his elevation, he's looking through a little bit more of the mucky air, and when he gets to sea level, and he's looking at the boat now, what he's effectively doing is he's looking through all this dirty air now. Well, am I still displaying or am I not?
Yeah, you're still displaying. It's all good. You're doing really well.
Okay.
That sounds toxic and disgusting to me.
Hey, P, how you doing?
Well,
Good to have you.
so yeah, so this is what we experience. Above the water, we have all this dirty air, and it's only I wouldn't care to guess how tall it is, but it's not very high, but it's enough that when you're looking through it this way, we've got a build up here of miles and miles of dirty air. But when you go above that and you get out of the mucky air and you look down into it, you don't get that distortion.
That's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah.
Which is what was been evidenced in these boats. This was at 60 feet. And then when we've gone lower, we're looking through a little less.
Hey, Lottie, how you doing?
This dirty air.
Can you say hello? Got to be quick about it. Say hello when you join.
Okay. So eventually we end up where we're looking through all the dirty air now. And that dirty air has managed to block out this boat.
Hey, the Weege, how you doing?
But it's still there.
Say hello. Hello.
Crikey, we're being inundated today, aren't we? They don't like this presentation, do they?
Nope.
You guys got some really good evidence, and they need to address it because
it's like I don't even understand what you're going on about, to be honest.
it just shows how strong your evidence is that they all have to show up and engage.
I mean, what we're seeing right now is an impossible sunset on a flat Earth. So,
did you have me display into the hangout there, Nathan? I'm not sure if you did.
I don't think it's impossible. It's just
We saw everything done.
how do you explain that on a flat Earth?
well, the holographic disk of the sun is just moving under the horizontal line out of sight. So
Under
it's
the
disappearing
horizontal line.
into the sea, the
Into the
apparent
sea.
disk.
Oh, Arwen.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard to hear that, isn't it?
It is actually.
Yeah, it's like the regular flat Earth with all the
Nathan,
heavenly body literalism. It is kind of easier to debunk, is it? But when I start with my theory, you just get so angry every time.
Oakley, can I ask you and Randy and Riley what you think about his holographic sunset? Do you think that's a good theory, or?
Do I think Arwen's theory about the holographic sun is a good theory? Is that your question?
Yeah.
One is as good as the next. Why would it be any better or worse than your theory about the sun?
Because there's no science to back up a holographic sun, is there? But there's lots of science to back up rotation of Earth making a sunset.
No, there isn't.
There's no science to. There's no science to back up the rotation of the Earth. What science are you referring to?
Watching it with my eyes.
How do you know
Really?
that it's the Earth that's rotating that's
Hold
causing
on.
what you see?
Hold on, let's just hear him give
That's
this
what
example.
That's what explains it the best.
Go on, what do you mean you've watched it with your eyes? How
I've
you doing,
watched the sunset happen.
How you doing, YouTube? Can you say hello?
Well, so did I.
Can I ask Riley and Randy if they agree with the holographic sunset theory?
I don't really have a view on it. I think that the sun is somewhat different to what we're being told, but I don't know what it is. And I'm not against.
It's a bit silly.
Pardon?
I think Arwen's speculating what he thinks it is a bit silly, a bit too far.
No, it's not a bit silly. I base my speculations purely on observations of how the heavenly bodies react. You can't approach them.
Arwen said
You go up high enough and they change their location in accordance to your movement. So all actual observable proof leads to their nature being holographic. It really does.
the holographic explanation is silly, Arwen. There's no proof or evidence. Or how
No,
would
I just told you what it
Hi, Alan.
was,
Is that
and
really
you just
you? How you doing,
ignore
Alan? Can you
everything
say
I
a quick
said.
hello?
make it up on the spot?
Hold on,
No,
guys.
I didn't make it up on the spot.
Don't-
I've been
I don't wanna
sharing
boot Alan
this idea
unnecessarily.
for 2 years, you
Hold on,
freaking
Arwen.
moron.
Hello, Alan.
Sun sinking into the ocean. It's ridiculous.
It's not an object.
So
A hologram can sink anywhere. It's
So
not
how does it heat
there. It's
Sandy?
just
How
an
do you get
optical
sunburn?
effect.
How do you get sunburn from a hologram?
Sorry?
How do you get hot? How do plants grow? How do you get sunburn from a hologram?
Well, it's light, and light just has that response to physical objects. Doesn't need to be a physical object to do that. It's just the light that comes off it.
A very hot
If it
hologram.
even comes off the sun, if that's not even part of the optical illusion itself, it could be just a focal point where it just appears like a disk, and it's not really actually coming from that disk. How do you know? It could be like a magnifying glass effect. It just looks like the sun is there, but it's not the literal physical source of the sunlight.
So how is it making my hands?
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what it's not.
Appearing. Why don't you make up a theory of how it's hot?
Just gave you an answer to that. Did you not hear his answer? He just explained that it's the light wavelengths that are causing things to burn, like light does from your sun.
So it's a really warm, hot hologram.
Yeah, that's what light waves do.
Now, the hologram aspect of it is the sun disk that we see. Doesn't mean that there is no light. It just appears like that. It is a side effect, you could call it. A holographic side effect that we get to see that disk at the edge of our vision. And that is the focal point from which the daylight is coming. But doesn't need to be a physical object out there to actually cause that.
The hologram isn't actually a light source. It's the product of a light source.
That's what I said. It's a side effect. It just appears there is a disk out there
the light source
from which this light seems to spring.
Where's the hologram sun made from?
I don't know.
The North Center?
I don't know.
You have no idea?
No, I have no idea. I could
He's told you he
speculate
doesn't
about it,
know
but I
about
can't
Say the same
find
to you,
it.
Dawn. Dawn,
I to tell you that he
I just
doesn't
know it's an optical effect.
bear with
That's
me a
all.
second. Just let me ask Dawn the same question. So, how do you know how the sun produces its energy?
I'm real. Don't snipe me. I'm real.
Okay, hi Tony. How you doing?
I
Look at
personally
this,
can't
man.
stand
It's like
it.
old times. What's up, guys? It's like old times.
Gee, honestly, we've had about 30 snipers in. We've had 30 snipers in.
If it's that
There's
high,
been a
but
lot.
yeah.
Oh, there is. We've got
What's up,
Flat
guys?
Earth ball bag.
Flat Earth ball bag.
Yeah,
that's
see
a
it.
snipey name if I've ever heard one. So yeah, Dawn. So how do you know that the sun is a nuclear reaction?
Bunny, hello.
Well, science tells me.
Hold on, the bunny. Can you say hello?
Oh,
They study the light. And even if I didn't know exactly what the sun was, I know it produces energy and heat because I can feel it myself.
no, the sunlight does that. The sun doesn't do
Hold on,
anything.
Arwin.
There is no
Arwin, he let
proof
you
for that
speak.
at all.
Just let
Oh,
him
when you're an
speak.
expert on suns, yeah?
Well, I seem to be more of an expert than you, since you just mentioned that you just trust the scientists that study it.
Yeah, because trusting science is mental, isn't it? Totally mental.
Yeah, it's just as mental as trusting in religion, what the priesthood says. Yeah.
Not even close.
No, religion's a myth.
Religion
Science
is
Yeah,
backed
so
up
is
by
this.
facts.
Tell that to a Bible literalist.
Adam and Eve were real.
I think faith is stronger than belief or an evidence and facts, because faith can go beyond rational thought, while like the empirical view of things cannot.
John Homer, hello.
You still hear me? My mic's
Yeah,
Hi guys, how are you?
Cool.
Hi,
Well,
John.
why
What
would
can we
you-
do you for? How you doing? What can we do John for?
Just really interested in sort of having a bit of a chat with you guys, really, if I'm honest. Like, I've been listening for a long time now, and really, I think flat earthers in general are very interesting. Sort of very interesting to listen to. The ideas are very interesting to listen to.
Hey, Lottie.
Yeah, just really interested in,
Just get hello
in sort
from
of trying to have a
Lottie.
bit of a conversation. Don't want to interrupt though in the mid flow.
Kanye West. Right.
Faith
that's
is
the real one.
accepting things the way they are, and when you have beliefs and evidence, you're trying to fix the world around your beliefs and your cognitive dissonance. Where faith is you just accepting things the way they are.
Now, you have observations, things that you can actually measure and have, like things like triangulation, direct physical certainty, and then you fill in the gaps or you don't. And when you fill in the gaps and you can actually prove those gaps, then you create a belief.
Prove that the sun is a hologram.
Yeah, but that philosophy limits you, where like faith that has no limits. So I think faith is more powerful than empirical observations.
Fantasy is more powerful. The imagination can take you anywhere.
In your head, yeah.
I think it's bad to limit yourself.
Well, yeah, the heliocentric model depends a lot on faith and fantasy. A lot. A giant amount. Yeah, it does.
Some of it depends on trust and learning.
Yeah, and you trust all these people out there that are going to measure planets
I would rather do that than
billions of light years away and find this with telescopes and see all these amazing pictures, and you're never going to see them with your own eyes. You're just seeing
Have you ever
what
been to a
people are
planetarium,
shoving
Arlo?
towards you, and you love it.
you
Arlo,
expect
have you ever been to a
someone like this to
planetarium?
make it up.
It touches your imagination. That's
See that
why it
sunset
works so
line?
well.
What do you think's happening? Just make it up.
No, I don't just make it up. I try to figure it out.
To you.
Well, where are the holograms coming from? First off, I mean, your idea is flawed just from.
Leave Alan.
from
Don't kick Alan. Hi, Alan. Good to have you.
Oh, sorry. You jumped right to the end of the argument with hologram. You didn't tell us how you got there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I have several theories of how that could somehow be possible. They
have
will point
hypotheses.
out in
That's
all
a
directions,
hypothesis.
but it's only theoretical.
Okay,
It
well,
just-
let's hear one of these. I want to hear one of these sun theorems.
Okay, well, as I said, they go in several different directions. One is that it's somehow being projected inside our eyes, that it is part of observation itself.
When you say projected inside our eyes, you mean from
that
a,
it's
from
a
source?
optical side effect of just observation itself.
You are a whack
So-
job, Alan.
It was there when we. Was it there like?
I'm just
No,
saying
no,
it's
no,
a
no.
freaking theory, man. It's one theory. Another theory is that it could be a kind of a mirror effect, which could relate to a dome or whatever. That it is somehow a focal point, like a magnifying glass, and that it just appears like that. And another theory is
Welcome.
that it's being reflected from some center point at the Earth.
Yeah, you made these theories up, mate.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
do.
what
That's
are the,
how
what
you
are the
get
planets
theories.
actually? What are the?
No, that's not how you
makers
get
of them?
theories. You don't just make theories up. That's
Yeah,
what-
you do, you dummy.
No, you
You
don't.
make theories up and then
You do
you
when
try
you're
to
10 years
prove
old.
them. That's how theories work, you idiot.
I didn't even do that.
If you're going to have a theory, though, if you're going to have a theory,
I love it when Armin calls people idiots. It's great.
Guys,
Surely you
guys,
should
can
base that
we
foot-
tone it down a notch, please?
Yeah, Owen, you're going too far. Randy, Riley, and Oakley don't even agree with your bullshit.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, we know what the sun is. We have SPF to block it. You know, we understand. We can gather it and use it as electricity. We pretty much know what's going on up there.
You know what sunlight is. You don't know what the sun is.
We know what photons are.
You don't know photons.
We know
Photons
what
are not
helium
even
is. We
proven.
know what. What?
What? Yeah, photons are theoretical
No, I didn't hear it.
particles. They can't make up their minds if it's a wave or if it's a particle. So they say, yeah, it's both or it's neither. You don't know. Quantum physics. That's the reality. That's what they say.
Are you saying a photon is quantum?
Can we say hello?
Photon is a
Deported
theoretical
guest? Can we say
particle
hello?
to make light into a particle. That's what it is.
Great.
Riley's, hello.
But the double slit
know how to
experiment
harness that.
proves that it's not that simple.
So
yeah,
We seem
really.
to be able to harness it.
Heavy
We seem to
trolling.
be able to transfer it to other places. We seem to get burnt by it. Randy got burnt
Yeah,
by
but
it.
you can't make certain that it's actually a particle.
Arwin is actually right. It's either
Oh, is
it's
it?
either a wave or a particle. But
So,
it can't.
Randy, do you believe when you got sunburned it was from a hologram that you can't explain.
No, it's from light.
I'm not asking you, I asked Randy.
What other light does that?
Hey, Squiggly, can you say hello?
So, John, what side of the fence do you come in on? Do you come in on the side of the flat Earth, or are you a ball earther?
I would never describe myself as a ball earther, but yes, I don't believe the Earth is flat. No.
Okay, cool.
More of a concave man.
Hollow Earth, maybe.
Not quite. No, I believe in the classic scientific model.
He doesn't like
Geocentric or heliocentric?
Sorry, say that again, Nathan.
Geocentric or heliocentric?
I couldn't tell you the difference between the two. If you could explain it, I could tell you.
Geocentric means the stars are travelling around us. Heliocentric means we are travelling around the sun.
That we are travelling around the sun.
Heliocentric. Fair enough.
Correct. I assume.
The one that fits reality.
So, just as it was asked to Dawn earlier then, what is your proof that we are spinning?
Was that to me, sorry?
Sure. You think you're spinning and travelling around a sun, I'd just like to know why you think that.
Now, why don't gyroscopes just turn every 24 hours? Why don't they?
Why do I think I'm spinning? Outside of obviously being told that I'm spinning. That would probably be the easiest thing to say. I think probably the best thing to do would be if you look at different hemispheres, the rotation is opposite.
Good morning, everyone.
Nate.
Hello, Alan B.
Cheerio.
Oh, why do you keep kicking people when they say
People
hello?
are coming in to snipe, that's why. So I'm kicking them.
You said hello.
You don't know that, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We've been sniped today. So, yeah, there's a 50-50 chance that everyone who joins is going to snipe. So I'll just boot them and there's a 50-50 chance I'm wrong. Oh, well.
That's cool, I understand.
All right, hemisphere.
I like those odds.
I should take a screenshot of all these accounts that have tried joining. I think they've snapped John. John's gone.
They have sniped John, yeah.
Yeah, because he's going to make a terrible case for why he thinks he's spinning. That's why they sniped him. I would snipe him too if I was on the ball side. I wouldn't want anybody who believes they're on a ball talking to us.
He was spinning, but look
one time I know Lewis Hackett was on a hangout and he didn't know the circumference of the Earth. And Tim Osmond sniped him because he thought Lewis was making the ball look stupid. Which, I mean, Lewis does do that on a daily basis. So.
It's only because he's new, though. As he learns the ropes,
Actually, that's pretty good.
Make the ball look
Seems to know his facts, though. You know?
He has a boyish desire to make the ball Earth look bad.
It's because he's a bit green. As he learns the stuff, he'll realize what the answers are, and then he'll not get caught.
Nobody makes the ball look
I think
bad.
he
Really.
grasped the answers
Everybody
properly.
makes the ball look bad.
P-Mars, I got to ask you a question, man. How come you're warming towards us at our hour of like disparity in terms of we've not had ballers in for at least a fortnight or whatever it is, and P-Mars is here? I'm curious.
That's a good question, Riley.
Oh, I hate all the people in Gem's Discord, and I'll do whatever to annoy them.
All right, it's not because you like us then.
No.
Well, I've just counted how many snipers there were. Do you want to take a guess?
18.
27.
Wow.
No way, really?
It's fully automated.
Wow.
20,
I hope you're not thinking they're all Globers.
No, I don't
There
think
are
that
flat
at all.
Earth snipers out there, too.
I think there's just as many snipers on the flat Earth side as there is on the globe side. People are people.
Yep.
And this
There's
is
a couple,
people behaving like
concavers out
people,
there,
not globers. No, you're right. I think I completely agree with you, Tony.
Don't hate me, Mars. My heart's open for you.
I saw Miles saying that he got sniped, and I didn't see Miles join.
Might be me. Sorry, Miles. You've just picked the wrong day. I've sniped people because it's just if you don't say hello immediately. And to be fair, everyone on the panel, including Dawn, all said hello. So it's like, didn't kick them. Simple. Say hello, Jason.
Oh,
How you doing,
hello.
Jason? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Good to have you, Jason. What can we do you for?
Oh, thanks for having me.
What can we do for you, my friend?
I was just coming on to talk today.
So what side of the fence?
Well, I'm not really sure yet.
Cool.
I was in the middle.
Are you on the middle?
Good place to be.
Well, yeah, it depends.
In reality, considering fancy.
Really, I'm just not sure.
What do you
I've seen
think
a lot of
about
good
that
evidence on both
SpaceX?
sides.
Think about sunsets. They're impossible.
SpaceX?
Yeah, what do you think of the footage they released? Do you think that looks real or CGI?
It looks as real as about anything.
Okay.
It's really
Well,
hard to decide.
It's designed to fool, though, isn't it? Basically.
No.
I'm sorry?
If it was CGI, it would be designed to fool, so it would have to look pretty realistic.
Jason might not have been in on the conversation
Well-
earlier. We're talking about the SpaceX footage with the car in space and the rockets coming back down to Earth and the duplicate feed.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was
I think
put
they
out.
did a pretty good job on it, but it's
Just imagine in the future
hard
when
to
they're
tell.
like, hey, they're going to say that Tesla's coming in orbit, like in 20 years from now, or whenever it comes back in orbit. I wonder if they're going to grab it and bring it back to Earth. They might.
So you know, there's an astronomer that's caught it in the sky on his telescope. I can screen share that if you like.
Lost all the guests.
What did
What's
you
going
do?
on? So, who's booted everybody? There's only 3 of you on.
Oh, footage
Jason,
here?
Tony, and Dawn Treader. So which one of you was
I
it?
can't get in the back chat, so I can't
Hello?
even use kicking.
There's 8 people in there.
What an annoyance. Another 3rd hangout of the day. Hi P, I'll start a new hangout. I'll just stick it in.
Everyone got sniped. It wasn't just me.
No, everyone. Just Dawn, Treader, and a couple of others left on the show. But it'll only take me 30 seconds to start the 3rd
I
one.
wanted to ask Tony a question because I heard him on Jim's Discord this morning saying like, "Oh, Nathan is so mean to ballers. Nathan's mean to ball earthers, and I don't like him anymore." But like, if you listen to their Discord server, they're always nasty to flat earthers. So it's so weird, man. They're so hypocritical how everything they blame and they're mad at you for, they're completely guilty of doing. And
Yeah. It's straight out the Art of War, mate. It's straight out the Art of War. Basically accuse your enemies of your own digressions. That's basically what you got to do. And that's exactly what they do. They accuse us of all the things they do. And if we do them back, they're on it like flies on shit.
actually, yeah, the elite or the mainstream media does the same thing. Any enemy of the establishment will accuse their enemies of doing what the establishment does. It's a really good tactic, actually.
Yeah, that's precisely what they do. But you just got to laugh at it. I mean, that's the whole point of this debate show, is to show exactly that happening. Because if you're keeping up, you can see exactly what they're doing. So, apart from occasionally they'll do things that you weren't expecting, like doubling down. So they double down on the height of the cliff lie, and you're like, love it, lads, love it. You gotta love it. Undone by your own evidence, but you're still well prepared to come on the show there and then amidst a boycott to double down on your lie. You're like, wicked. Yeah. I love showing that stuff.
They act like you have no evidence, but then yet they're here all the time, and they're creating like videos and doing hours and hours of homework to prove you wrong. But you don't have any evidence. Okay.
Right, I've published not published the link. I've stuck it in Masturbators. I don't know if you're in that. Are you in Masturbators?
Who was it that sniped everybody?
I don't know what that is.
It's just one of the Skype chats for this.
It was that guy that came and he was talking to he was on the fence. That Jason guy.
No way.
Yeah.
Hey, you doxed me.
No, I haven't.
Said my name. It's alright.
Oh, did I? Shit, sorry. I've sent you the link. There you go. You can join again. I won't publish it for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Where's P Mars talking
He's
from?
just he was on the iPad Skyping with me just while I was sending the link out and stuff. So the link is again private for the next 10 minutes. So if anyone wants to do any demonstrations, now's your opportunity.
That was some serious concerted effort today, though, to disrupt this.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never seen as many snipers.
It's been ace. I mean, that's the show for today. 115 people watching. Marvellous, They think that this is disrupting the show. And it's like, no, that's just the show today. Today has been a very snipey show. I'm sure it's been entertaining for the people watching. It's not going to make me lose my temper. It's like, we'll be back tomorrow doing another 2 hours. On the first shows, it was like, prolonged periods of silence when no one joined, and there's just me going, you know, just like 4 times in a row doing the exact link that I'm going to do now, you know, just the same link over and over again, saying if you want to join the show, if you want to join the show. And yeah, with that said, if you did want to join the show, be sure to mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There is only one rule, really: don't swear and you won't be ejected. However, we are inundated with snipers, so if I do accidentally eject you on this particular show, my apologies in advance. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live, and a link in the info box below this video once the video has rendered. Come here. Yes. So if you are watching currently, please share the show, as sharing the show increases the chances of a more diverse panel. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. There is approximately 1 hour left on this live stream.
Yeah, I'll do my presentation again if you want.
Yeah, man. It got cut short, so why the hell not?
Why not? We've got a bit of time, so I might as well. Tell me when I'm sharing.
Yep, you're sharing.
Okay, I love this. Boat 1, elevation 60 feet. So when we were looking at it up here, 60 feet, we're only looking through this band of crappy air. We're only looking through a very smidgen of it to see the boat. Then on the next image, when we come along here and I drop to around about 20 feet, the boat is starting to disappear. Its height above sea level is still there. The mast is still in the same spot as the previous one, but the boat itself is starting to merge into the dirty air, and that's represented for when we lower the elevation here. And I move this down.
Excuse me.
And we look through from this amount of my computer's playing up a bit, but there we go. So we're looking through more dirty air now before it gets to the boat, and that's what we're actually seeing here, evidenced in this. Finally, when we go to the last image, there's 5 images here, but when we go to the last one, and all this is invisible, you wouldn't even know there was a boat there. You would think that could be a mast somewhere in the distance. You wouldn't know that was a boat. But it's the same elevation. It's not moved. It's still the same height above sea level. The only difference is that now we've actually gone from looking through a bit of dirty air to a lot of dirty air to now looking through all the dirty air. And when we're looking through it all, it's distorting what we're seeing from the bottom up, and anything that's not affected, like this part of the boat, the top part of the boat, which isn't affected and is out of the dirty air, that's why we're still seeing it. But the bottom stuff is all being merged away. There we go.
PMARS.
Yes.
What's your view on Jeremy's videos about me faking flat?
I haven't really watched them, I guess.
Okay, well, the general gist of them is that he thinks that I'm a liar for. I can't remember if it's for the elevation I cited or for the position I cited, or maybe a combination of both. But he spent a lot of time producing videos that are of high productivity, that are highly produced, they're well produced, and they're quite pleasing on the eye. But they're all aimed at me being a lying piece of dirt. Any views on the nature of the videos that he's creating? Do you think they're...
Well, no, I mean, I know he's very mainstream. Like, he believes in the moon landings and everything. So
I know, but then come on, PMARS, you swerved.
I think. Okay, well, I think like Jeremy has been calling flat earthers liars for a long time now, and it's probably just like a knee-jerk reaction at this point.
Fair enough.
Because he's been here a lot. Like, I remember he's the first person I ever met on Hangouts was Jeremy.
Mark Taylor asks, Sleeping Warrior, if I join, are you going to snipe me? I won't snipe you, Mark. I think you're a dick, but I won't snipe you because when you're on the panel, you're actually capable of a discussion. But I can't say the same for everybody on the panel.
Well, third time's a charm. This is the third hangout, so, I'm going to give it 5 or 10 minutes and then I'll publish the link again. Hopefully, we might get 10 minutes without the whole panel being removed. But if that's today's show, that's today's show, But yeah, all are welcome, Mark. That's always the case. The link is genuinely public. Anybody can click it. And I would hope to not snipe anybody. You just have to say hello. Just come in, make sure your watch page is muted and say hello. That's it. And then start a conversation so that we know you're not a fake person.
You got to realize, all these researchers in psychoanalysis, behavioralism, and biochemistry are brought in to brainwash people like Jeremy into believing in a globe. So you can't really, it's expected that people who are brainwashed are going to think you're lying, right? So you gotta be understanding and empathetical of these people and not judgmental of their, because we're all in this situation, where we've all been lied to and manipulated. So the ball earthers are not empathetical of the flat earthers at all. So I think taking the high ground is the best way to win over the audience, because people will side, I think, with the more moral people that aren't porn bombing and sniping and all these things.
But I don't think that they actually have a vested interest in flat Earth or ball Earth. I think they just enjoy the game. It's just
no, it's not. They're not enjoying the game. They're deliberately trying to disrupt it because they don't want us to talk about stuff that we're not sure about or want to ask about and check. They don't like it.
The sociopaths.
Why do they care? You're just asking questions. I don't understand why that's an issue. Isn't it good and healthy to be skeptical of things? So
yeah, but if you watch these guys, they're on the computer games 24 hours a day. This is like a break for them. When they're not going around killing things and zombies and stuff like this and jerking off to each other, they sit on flat Earth panels and snipe. It's just another game to them. That's all it is. It's like online gaming, but it's online trolling, something that they don't have to pay for. They haven't got a game, they've got to buy the upgrades and they've got to pay the subscriptions. But here they can take a break from all that and just try a different type of gaming. And to them, it is a game.
I've been reading about online gaming because I think I grew up being addicted to it, and about how it affects the dopamine in your brain, and it makes you feel like you have a false sense of accomplishment. So I think, if you look at this psychologically, a lot of these, we're used to living in tribes, and we're living in modern society, and a lot of these things our bodies genetically used to are removed, and we're in this weird environment that our bodies haven't had time to adjust to the modern environment. And so you get people like Gem Panda's Discord server where they feel like they're not accomplishing anything in life, and they get this false sense of accomplishment by playing this flat Earth game, and they think they're achieving something by helping other people, educating other people or something. They think it's this false sense of accomplishment. It's like an online game, like a fantasy. And I know I think I've been trying to stop playing video games because I've been looking at this stuff. So
yeah, I completely agree. It's no coincidence that all these guys sit on the games 15, 20 hours a day. And they've all come from that side of things, the gaming side. It's just like a new challenge to them. It's like a new type of game.
Look, I don't accept any of this. I can do Sonic the Hedgehog's first level in about 17 seconds, and if you're telling me that's not achieving something, I don't know what is.
Well, you're on the flat Earth. And you've got your own channel up.
Can you really, Nathan?
You're the elite of the flat Earth now. If you can do that,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I spent hours and hours and hours holding down the right-hand key on my Sega Game Gear and just figuring out where I needed to tap the jump button to do the screen like phenomenally fast, you know, just to get the complete level. Obviously, at the time, my intention was to be able to do the entire game in like, you know, 10 minutes flat or something stupid. But yeah, the first level, I could do it in literally a matter of seconds. You just press the button with your finger pressed down on the right-hand button.
I watch a lot. There's a lot of, that's like the big community on YouTube, the speed running community. That's
exactly,
kind of interesting. Like people playing these old games, like people still play Super Mario Brothers trying to get the fastest time and stuff. That's kind of interesting.
Right, well, I will disclaim then, just because, hold on, I've got to get this in, otherwise I'm going to get a load of crap in the comments if gamers are watching. Right, 17 seconds was plucked out of the air because it's about 25 years ago. So don't give me any crap if someone says, that's impossible, you can only do it in 18.4. I'm not interested. It's just a joke.
You know they're going to go and try and do it now.
It's just a joke. But it is true. I could do it very quickly.
I've actually, you know what's funny about that, Nathan? I actually watched a video the other day where like some of these gamers from the 80s got busted lying about scores, where they got credited and got fame off these scores in Atari games, and then they went back and found out that the scores are not actually possible, and they were lying. I love it.
Just frauds. There's loads of people out there that just want to
there's like
lie.
frauds everywhere, right? In every community.
Yeah, it certainly is. Every corner. But I think Isle of Man is like just a level on a game to these guys. Just a very difficult, annoying, frustrating level that they can't quite get past. And eventually they'll get past it and it'll be the next level. Slightly higher difficulty.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is. I mean, if you know, you can see the intensity grow. And what they try and do, they try and crash the game when they can't win it. They try and spoil it so no one else can do it. They're trying to find a hack.
Yeah. It's like when you're losing a game of chess and you just flip all the pieces off onto the ground.
Well, that's how it comes across.
Can I just interrupt and ask you a question about the elevation of the hill that we measured? Miles seems to think that I've not been clear on it. Now, the bit that I've not revealed is what it measured on the tape. But with regards to the measurement of the hill, I reasserted my position based on the fact that we measured it and found that there was no wild variation on Google Earth, plus or minus 30 meters. So Miles thinks in some way that I've been unclear. What he really wants is what did the tape measure show, and I'm not going to give it him because it's his assertion to go and prove.
That's all right. He's already gone and proven. Hold on, Ranty. So he's already gone and proven with his little stick that he can measure, he's capable of measuring from the shore to the top of a hill. And what do you know? It tallied also. So it seems like there's no need for us to present anything. So far, all you've managed to do is confirm that Google, within 200 yards of the actual elevated position, is pretty much accurate. You've done that for us. That's why when they asked me and came back all gleeful that they got the tape measure down the hill and, you know, it came back to pretty much the same as Google, I was like, I've had a total change of heart here. Why the hell are we proving their assertion? All you've ever done is say, these are the values on Google Earth. That's all you've ever done. So why do we have to prove a damn thing? Let them do it. And what do you know? When they do, and they bury it in an hour-and-a-half video, it proves that Google's not wildly inaccurate. Just for anybody who's saying, what do you know, Google's accurate? No, no, no. We're not making any claims. We're not confirming Google. We've not given out any measurements. Miles, on the other hand, has. He's gone out and shown himself with his little man with his little stick standing next to the little hill that's measured at 29 feet on Google. I mean, if you're generous, you could give him 20 feet. But, you know, let's face it.
For what it's worth, though, for what it's worth, and you know this, and Anthony knows this too. In fact, a lot of people do, but I actually have a presentation ready to go. At any point, drop of a hat, you tell me when, and I'll give them the measurements, and I'll give it them in spades. It'll be undeniable.
Never. I've already said to you, Ranty, there is a useful purpose for us to have the measurements accurate on both sides. So once we've got both sides and we've got them measured accurately, we'll present exactly how we've done it, why we've done it, and in other words, the information will be presented irrelevant of anybody else's measurements. But until that time, i.e. it's been used for our advantages, there's no need ever to present it, ever. And if we chose not to ever... Sorry, go on, Ranty, sorry.
We need to get Lottie to put my $5,000 in a bank account ready to transfer over to me directly. Someone hold it in a safe keeping for me. So that I can do the presentation and then I can go and claim it. That would be awesome. So Lottie, yeah, if you can do that for me...
No, don't make any... No. Don't make any agreements. Just, I'm sick of this. Who gives a crap what some troll who will never put $5,000 in escrow for you says, or what he now could potentially, if you agree to something here, hold you to? Who cares what some twat has to say about it? The bottom line is the measurements for us are useful. And when they become useful, that's when they'll get presented. You know, I just don't want you guys tying yourself in knots because some dick troll feels he has the right to challenge you with some bananas amount of money that he hasn't got. It's just nonsense. You know, I'm sick of it. The reality is that, yeah, the measurements are useful to us and we'll use them. You guys only seem to want to use the measurements to debunk Anthony Riley. And Anthony Riley's not made any claims and not released any measurements. And as far as I'm concerned, as it stands, he never will be. You know, so that's where it is. That's where it's at. You guys want to debunk him and have attempted to do so and undone your own bullshit, which is hysterical. And it's great fun to point at Miles Davis's video and show him measuring a hill that has got a value on Google. So that's really handy, guys. Thanks for that. For all the guys who said you didn't watch the whole video, what? Watch him go up the hill extrapolating out the rest of the values? No, I didn't. I didn't need to. I only needed him to measure a part of Google that does have a value next to it to dispel people like GeoStreber's myth that because Germany has got a discrepancy, so has St. Bees. Well, so far, lads, not so good. Thanks to Miles Davis and Al Kay.
Well, there's going to be a lot of sad ballers when this when the evidence does get put out there, what the heights actually are, because clearly they just can't judge heights.
Yeah, again, I've got to disagree with you. What? Who cares? I mean, we already know and have known for a very long time that the Isle of Man and this observation alone, it's been confirmed and done again, just so everyone knows. But that will come again sooner, or right? That will come again later, rather. But yeah, this observation undoes the globe. Shouldn't see any of this stuff. Shouldn't see any of it. None of it's there. It's not a what's the word? What was the things that people were saying? You've got to provide evidence for it, and it's not an assertion. It's a geometric fact. This stuff ain't there on your sphere. That's the bottom line here. You know, you need band-aid theories to bring it back. You need adjustments in your calculations and diagrams and depictions. You're all fighting like mad because this observation's an absolute globe killer, regardless of the height that he's up the hill. You know, this has been demonstrated. And what will come is a flat earth proof that we won't even give a toss about, you know, debunking the globe when we present that model. It'll just be, this is how the world works. Accept it or don't, that's what it is. It's represented here, and you can depict everything that's on that Isle of Man, where it is, and why it is. No explanations needed in terms of what's happening. No band-aid theories, no refraction, just an explanation for what you see. Literally, what you see is what you get.
Nate, would you mind sharing my screen so that they can see it, please?
I think flat earthers should not go to Jem's Discord, personally. It's my opinion.
I wouldn't go to Jem's Discord, given the way he's been with me recently. Absolutely not.
I've gone to their Discord and heard things like Louis saying, easily in excess of 120 feet. And then you see things like this. I love it.
So this is a screenshot from Al Kay's video. And I don't know who this is. It's either Al Kay or Miles. So I'm assuming that Al Kay is holding the camera, and I'm assuming that this fine being would be Miles. If not, it's Al himself. And he's measuring the lower part of the car park from where St. Bees is. And he's doing this. I'm not sure what his purpose of doing this particular measurement was. I think he was doing it to form part of the calculation to the hill that's to the right where I did the observation that was measured at 35 according to Google Earth. I think he was doing it as part of an extrapolation rather than a direct measurement, so it's kind of like an indirect measurement. And we can see that he's stood at the base. The water comes right up to this line here, and it goes above and beyond it because you can see that there's like erosion here. This is caused by a lapping up of waves up against the thing. These rocks that have been put here form part of a bigger picture that the guy that owns the land doesn't want the land receding anymore, so he's putting his own flood defenses in to stop the erosion or to try and minimize the erosion. And you can see
can I just add one thing there? So when Miles Davis did his observations of the wind farms, which he babbled on about for about an hour, he was at this location, correct?
Yes.
Right, and he claimed this was 40 feet, and it was at high tide, so the tide was lapping up against where he was standing. If he'd have measured it when he did the observation, this guy standing there would be wet. That's the bottom line. And he claimed this to be 40 feet. Just another ball liar.
Yeah, I think the position that Miles and Al Kay were doing was that pin that to the start. Oops, sorry, hang on, I'm just pin that to my taskbar. That's it.
That's a ball-faced lie.
What's a bald-faced lie?
Oh, he's claiming in the chat that he wasn't there. He wasn't at this location. I may stand corrected.
No, it was there. That's exactly where it was. Let me pull up my thingy. He's lying.
So is he just lying again? What a surprise.
Yeah. Let me open up Google Earth Pro and I'll show you exactly where Miles was. Because I'm quite familiar with the area, and I remember what Miles said in the video. He gave himself an elevation of 12 meters, which turns out to be 39 point something feet. And Miles was...
He's in chat right now, by the way.
Yeah, I know he's in chat. That's why he's getting addressed, because he's a liar. Miles took his observations according to the video, he took his observations at this point here at the top of the cliff, and he gave himself an elevation of 40 feet. At the time, the tide was in. Him and Al both went at the same time. Tide was in at the time. Unless I've got a slight inaccuracy on my recollection, that's exactly the way it was. So I'll stand by that because that's what his video showed. 12 meters of elevation, and we measured it. Me and Ranty went back because Ranty said there's no way that's 12 meters. We measured it from the point where he was stood at the top down to the rocks, these pebbles that are on this part, because that's where the water was up to. And it was, what was it, Ranty? Was it 19 feet? And was it 19? It was 19 feet. Now, Miles had claimed...
Sorry, I was distracted.
It's all right. Miles had claimed that this was 40 feet. And this is completely and utterly nonsense. Yeah. And now, Al K has released this video, and it's got this fine stature of a being. But if we use him as a guide, you can see that there will be another one that would be onto about there. And then kind of like 2/3 of a... So it's like kind of two people and 2/3 of a person. And then you can estimate that if call that person 6 feet or 5'7" or whatever, call it 6, 12, 15. So you're looking at about 15 or 16 feet there. And then add a couple of feet on for where the water was up to. And you're up to 19. And Miles put himself at 40. So that's like 30% more than what he actually was. Miles drums on about how important and accurate the need for accurate data is. And then at the end of his video, he concluded that it conformed completely with the spherical Earth, which is complete and utter nonsense. It didn't conform with a spherical Earth because a spherical Earth is curvature, and that which he was calling obstruction at the horizon was clearly not curvature. It was clearly optical, but he wanted it to be curvature, so we called it curvature. But you and I look at it and go, well, it's just a little bit of refraction on the horizon, which stretches what we see, and that's what we see all over the place. But Miles called it obstruction that was consistent with curvature, and it's complete and utter nonsense. So
right, I'm going to stick the link out now. So we've got about 15 minutes of closed chat. So if you did want to join the discussion, be sure to mute your watch page, then click the link in the info box below this video. If you do join the panel, please do not swear, as I will kick you out. And if you are kicked, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these live shows and a link in the info box once the video has rendered. I think there's about 40 minutes left on this live stream. How you doing, Tony? How you doing, Louis? Good to have you both here.
Hello.
And Mark, good to have you as well.
Miles,
Miles Dawn Treader, good to have you also.
Hello.
Is that full house? Wow, that was quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. If someone wants to join, there's one gap.
Hello.
Any more twats need to come in?
No need. No need. No need.
You guys
for
obviously.
Twats already in here.
Any more Ken Burn people?
Come on, take that back, Ranty. No need.
To try and ruin it at the last moment, they can't help it.
Has it already been addressed that photo with Anthony holding the tape is not where he took his observations from?
Yeah, we didn't take that measurement. You realise that's not our video? That's your side of the arguments video, right? I mean, I can't help where they take their measurements from.
What are you talking about?
That's not our video. That's your side of the argument. Ballers have made.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is I can't help if they're going to debunk Anthony and measure a different part of the hill.
Okay.
We're talking about the 29-foot where you guys measured.
We don't know where
it was matched.
Oh, so that isn't okay. I misunderstood there. So this photo that Sleeping Warrior is sharing, what is this?
It's
I did say right at the start. I don't know why they were measuring this part because it's not where I took my video from.
Right. Well, they're measuring that because that's where they took it from.
Correct.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Right.
It's
so
crazy.
they're demonstrating what you're supposed to do when you take an observation.
Oh, really? This is what you're supposed to do? Lie and exaggerate your elevation?
Well, they didn't lie. And they
Yeah,
didn't
he's at 40 feet.
exaggerate it.
Hold on,
Did you
let's
watch
just ask
the
him. Maybe he
entirety
didn't
of
hear.
his
He
video?
said he's at
They
40
absolutely
feet.
lied.
Do you think that's
Did you
40
watch
feet?
the entirety of his
Hold on.
video? Because he
think that's
went
40
through a
feet.
step-by-step process of how he
Louis thinks
arrived
that's
at
40
the
feet.
calculation.
It's got a bit of a size problem, clearly. Fun stuff. So you think
He
that's
went
40
through a
feet, do you, Louis?
step-by-step
Is that 40 feet?
calculation of how he
Is that
made
40
the cal-
feet?
of
Can
how
you answer
he
me? Is that 40
measured-
feet? Is that 40 feet,
how-
buddy? Is that 40
Louis,
feet? Look
I
like
don't
40
care what
feet to
he-
you, my friend?
Why are you guys talking over me?
Because I'm
don't
asking
care
you a
what he
question. Do you
calculated,
think that's
Louis.
40?
He
You said
measured
he
it, it
hasn't
wasn't
lied
40 feet.
about his observation. This
So
is the
how
way
did
you
you
do
measure
it.
it?
He's measured it and claimed it's 40 feet. So is this how you do things? You
No,
go
he
out, measure
can't-
them, and then claim that it's 40 feet?
He had the stairs up the side leading to the level area where he was taking the picture, and he had the tripod, which is a known height. And the stairs plus the tripod alone were at like excess of 30 feet. And then you add in a few more feet because the tide wasn't up, actually, Anthony.
Hello, can
He goes
anybody
over
hear
that
me?
in the video. So that's why I asked, did you watch the whole video?
Which is always
Hey, we've got
been
Miles.
simple.
Hold on, we've got
Can
some more
anyone
important than you,
hear
Louis.
me?
Hold on.
So
Hey,
you
Miles,
add
how you
10
doing?
feet?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you, Miles.
Your
Good to have
debate
you.
channel.
Okay.
That's why you were kicked, Miles, because your debate channel.
Sorry?
That's why you were kicked, because we thought the debate
It's-
channel was a
shut up.
dodgy
All right.
soccer channel.
Just go, Miles. Just go.
Just
No,
go
he's
why?
welcome here. Stay.
No, just start. Just start.
Okay. The height measurement of the place where we took the video of the wind farms and the Isle of Man at night is based on partly on the height of the steps up to the tea house, then the height of the steps actually up to the door of the tea house, and then the height of the slope or bank up to that area.
The tea house. That's
Those-
about 40
Those
meters.
measurements
Hold on, Ranty.
fit exactly with what the Ordnance Survey map claims.
Well,
Sorry,
that's
did
not
you
what
just
you
say?
claimed in
Sorry, hold on.
that-
Hold on.
Can I
Just let him finish.
They place that level at 40 feet above average sea level. It was a little over 40 feet. Sorry, I think it's about 45 feet above average sea level. It was between high and mid tide point when we took that video. And so you can make your adjustment. Nathan, your reference to the person being wet while, or would have been wet if the tide had been in where they are standing, is absurd. The tide only gets that high at very high tides, spring tides, storm tides, and things like that. The normal high water mark is far lower than that point where that person is standing. That
Sorry,
person
can we just
hold on. Let me just address that.
That
So
person's
hold
neither
on.
alpine
Hold
nor
on.
mycelium.
Can I just
No,
ask
I'd
something,
like-
Miles?
I want to
Hold on,
clarify
he's
one
addressed
thing.
me. I'd like to just ask him a quick question. So are you
Please
saying
do.
that we have 5 variants of tide? High tide, really high tide, mean, low, and really low. Is that how
There
we
are
measure
infinite
things?
variants of tide,
just-
Nathan, on every beach, in every
It's
part
all
of
right,
the world.
Louis. He can answer for himself. Do we have 5 variants?
No, we have an infinite number of variants. The tide is different.
And what are they quoted? Do we have an
Time.
infinite number of quoted tide heights, or do we just have high and low?
The tide,
have the-
the
whatever it's
actual
measured.
height to which the water gets and how low it goes varies constantly.
No, I understand that.
Miles,
And
do you
what
know
is
when you did your
quoted? Is it
wind farm
quoted
video,
at 5 different
was
levels
it
or
at
2
high
different
tide or
levels, high and low?
Pardon? I'm getting 3 people asking questions at the same time. It's
No
very
problem.
difficult.
I'll ask
Sorry,
the
you just
same
said- you
question
just said it was-
again to you, Miles. Do we get quoted a high and low value or 5 different values?
For any given tide, there will be a high tide value and a low tide value.
Thank
And
you,
there
Miles.
are also values.
So, just to be clear, this point that is eroded by the tide would be the high tide mark?
No, it would be.
Oh, it would be the very high tide mark, would it,
No.
Miles?
Yeah.
Nathan, all right, Miles, hang on. Miles,
Nathan,
hang on.
it's
So,
your
Nathan,
name,
have you ever played,
and it
have
strikes
you
me
ever,
that the effort here is to divert the discussion away from what the height.
I know, all right, and if this is going to go in circles. And
No, I've just got
question.
Miles on the
One
ropes.
minute.
There's
So
a high
here's
tide
the
and a low
issue.
tide.
Here's the
It's
issue.
fairly
That's not
simple.
where the water
At high
comes up to,
tide,
Nathan.
he would be wet.
Miles,
So where that
At
dirt
high
starts,
tide, he
You
would
see-
be wet.
Nathan, shut up. Do you
No,
see
not
where
shut
that
up,
dirt
Louis.
is?
Don't tell me to shut up. I'll just kick you out,
I can do
cheeky
whatever I
little
want
twat.
until you kick me.
Oi!
So
No,
do you
don't
see where
tell me
that
to shut up. I'll point out that Miles has made an assertion that sounded
No,
like there
you
were several
guys
different
are
measurable tide heights.
misunderstanding
And in
every-
reality,
You didn't let
there's
him
a high
finish.
tide
and
and
I'm
there's a
trying
low
to
tide.
systematically explain
That's what
your
we've got.
misunderstanding.
Simple. Miles wants to make it sound like we've got all sorts of different tide heights.
It's very simple.
But unfortunately, that's where it erodes. He just wanted to quantify it as being storm tides and various parts of the year where it's very high. Nonsense. There's a high tide and a low tide. And when they average them, that gives you the mean sea level. That's how they do it. Simple.
Nathan, where is the erosion occurring?
It's right in front of you. It's on screen, you blind idiot.
So where the dirt, do you think it's where the dirt is? Where the dirt is? That's where you think it's happening?
Yeah, where they've put a massive pile of rocks to stop it washing it away.
All right, that is not where the erosion occurs.
No, it's further down the coast, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. If I'm a moron and I accept idiotic suggestions that some guy hasn't gone to the great effort of putting great big boulders to stop his land getting worn away. Yeah, okay, that's not where the coast gets to. Yeah, you're right. What a moron.
Folks, I've come on for the last 15 minutes of this to try and get some clarity into what has actually been measured and what the height of these cliffs actually is.
It's on screen. The value's attributed with Google.
To some absurd
there you go. Quick answer, Miles. It's on screen. That's what's being measured. It's on Google, measured at 29 feet. There you go. What's on screen is what's being measured. That's it. It's there in front of you. It's given a value on Google of 29 feet. There you go. There's your answer.
40 plus.
Miles, you know when you did your video for the wind farm?
Sorry?
Was it mid tide or was it low tide when you did your video for the wind farms?
Or was it special Miles tide?
Can I answer, Ranty? He's asked me a question.
Yes, thank you.
It was after high tide, but I would say before the time sort of midway between high and low tide. So the tide, the water level height was between high and the middle of the tide sort of spread.
You've got a photo. Can you show us, please? Correct. Hold on. Sorry, Ranty. Sorry, I'd just like to see a photo of it, please. I'm sure you have one.
Well, just a minute. High tide was at 3:15, and he did say that he did the video at 3:30. That puts the tide at 7 meters 52. That looks about right.
Yeah, I haven't got the tides, and I haven't got the precise time.
It's just giving you them. It's just giving you them, Miles. Are you deaf? Are you deaf? He just gave them to you.
Because sunset was at 8 minutes past 4. So
so we were filming. That's right. We were filming. We were filming the sunset. This was in early January. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been at 7 meters 50, basically. So it's high tide.
So high tide, Miles. Yeah, so Miles lies again. Miles the liar Davis lives up to his name. Immediately after joining. Incredible. Not at all shocked that Miles the liar Davis just claimed that the tide was going down and he's a blatant liar. It was at high tide. What a liar. Total liar. Thanks for joining, Miles, you liar.
It was after high tide. That's what I said.
You said it was on the way down, somewhere between high and low. You said it on this show. It won't be going anywhere. You've said it, you liar.
I said between high and mid tide, and that's what it was.
No, it wasn't. It was at high tide. High tide, Ranty's just told you. High tide, my friend. High. Still struggling with this high tide definition, I see.
Not at all, Nathan. And Nathan,
yeah, well, he's just told you it was at high tide. What part of that didn't you understand? Did you think it went down in 7 minutes?
Nathan, you're trying to disrupt.
What's up with all this bitterness?
Why don't we actually have a discussion about what the facts are instead of you trying to butt in and disrupt and divert all the time?
Because the facts aren't in their favor. That's why. He's got to stop you.
No, pointing out that he lied. On this show right now, he's just lied.
Pointing out you lied is a key part of it,
right there?
You were a liar.
I have not lied.
You just lied to the audience. You told them the tide was somewhere between high tide and low tide. In the middle, somewhere in the middle. No, Ranty's just got the time specifically.
I said between high and mid tide. I couldn't.
No, it isn't. It's at high tide, you liar. Why are you still denying it, doubling down on your lie?
Not at all.
Seems that way to me. It seems like you're still lying about the tide.
Nathan,
it was at high tide.
Nathan, when you play this back, I'm quite happy for it to be close to high tide. I have no issue with that at all. I'm not claiming any difference in tide at all here. The fact is, it was after high tide point, and Ranty has confirmed that high tide was at about 3, and this was
3:15.
Ranty's presumably checked the time of this video.
So you're telling me this was taken 15 minutes after high tide. 15 minutes. You're telling me where I've said this guy would be stood in water at high tide. You've said that was absolutely not the case. Now we've just established that your observation was taken 15 minutes after high tide.
We filmed for about an hour and a half.
Shout out to Shroomy.
Yeah, shout out to Miles Davis, the liar. Oh, he's on the panel. Hey, good to have you here, Miles. Good that you're living up to your reputation.
An hour and a half, and we started filming after high tide. So it's perfectly reasonable to say it was after high tide. And this constant trying to pick on some stupid little point and claim it's a lie is absurd.
15 minutes after high tide.
Exactly
It's high
what you were
tide.
doing.
15
Well,
minutes.
At quarter past three.
In the middle of the sentence.
At quarter past three, it
Why
was
did you make the
7 meters.
measurement right there, guys?
At
Can I
quarter
ask you
past
why
three,
you took the
it was 7 meters 60.
I didn't make a measurement there. This is Al. This is
at
Al's
3:30.
Al's video. It's nothing to do with me.
It was 764, so it was a 5 centimeter drop from high tide.
That's fine. I'm quite happy with that. That's okay. I have no problem
this
with
guy
that
would
at
have been
all.
wet then.
Okay.
No, he wouldn't, because the tide doesn't get up that high on every day.
All right, well, do you want to show us a photo of how high it was then? Prove it.
So you're really not looking to further this argument. You're just...
Yeah, you're
Don't
just
matter.
disrupting, Nathan.
Is that a no? Are you not going to show us a
Why did you
photograph?
guys take the
Please, can you
measurement
show
right
us a
there?
photograph of
Nowhere
how
near
high
where
the
you guys
tide
had
was
the
when you took the observation, Miles Davis?
You won't want to discuss the issue of the cliff height.
No, we're talking about your observation of the wind farms from this specific location on screen right now.
Because you don't
That's what we are
talk
talking about.
Cliff height.
Yeah, this that
And
you have claimed to
I
be
am here
40
to
feet.
ask
You claimed
what
this was 40 feet. You also claimed the tide was going down, and in fact, you were 15 minutes off high tide. That's what
And
you've
so the
lied about
tide
so
was
far. You've
going
only been on
down.
about 10 minutes.
So what's the difference? What's the difference going to be? An inch or two?
What are you talking about? You
Make a big
defending his
difference,
lies too,
and
Tony?
I'm
You
not
defending a
claiming
liar?
anything about my tide height for
He's
that
lied about his
particular-
height, Tony. What don't you get?
Why would you pick on that? He wasn't even...
Why would I pick on a liar? Because he's a disgusting piece of crap, and I'm going to call him a liar for the rest of the duration of this show.
Nathan, you stopped in the middle of the sentence to call him a liar when he was going to finish and tell you exactly what you wanted to hear. Like, dude, I don't get it. What, you just want contention in here? Because they're talking fine.
Yeah.
Took the the measurement right there.
Dude, I don't
know
get it.
any observation where you guys put it right there.
This particular shot that you're showing is not a measurement that was made. It was an attempt to get some kind of feeling.
Oh, I thought this was theirs. How about yours then?
The point. That was all. We returned on another occasion and took more accurate measurements, both of which have been published. You have misled people by claiming that we tried to hide that. I published my video about the heights of the cliff. I think it was 8
Let's see
days
him.
after our first visit. It might
Let's see
have
him
been
right
a
now.
little longer.
Let's see him.
Sorry?
Are you deaf? Let's see them right now.
See what? It's on my video. How high was Riley?
Well, it won't be hard to find.
No, it's not hard to find. And it was published.
Yeah, let's see your videos of where Riley was.
Yeah. I am here to dispute the fact that you can use a tape measure and get a measure from either of the locations that Anthony was filming the Isle of Man, and you can get a tape measurement that is less than 66 feet.
Good for you.
So I want somebody to say whether that is what you are claiming. Are you claiming that the height of the cliffs using a tape measure came out at
Hangout number 4. How long have we got left? 25 minutes. Yeah, it's just about worth my time, I suppose. Somebody joined just to snipe that hangout. Again. Fourth in a row. Unreal. There we go. Makes for a very entertaining show. Hopefully tomorrow will be a bit more quiet. But, you know, people getting called out as the liars that they are is going to upset them. They're going to want to come with their stretched vocal cords, stressed as they are. There we go. Could do a link while I'm doing this. Hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. Fun, fun, fun that it is. If you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while it is live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate in about 5 minutes' time, simply click the link in the info box below this video to express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the hangout. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected by me, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And once again, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. How are you doing, Sleeping Warrior? Good to have you.
Rah!
Fun show.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
About 25 minutes left on this broadcast.
Runt is here.
How long should I give it before I publish this one? I think I might give it till 15 minutes remaining, because then if it does get sniped again, I'll just end the show.
Yeah.
What I'll do, Nath, if it's all right with you, I'll just send this one link on its own to Miles, because I'd like Miles to come in here and explain his nonsense. Is that okay?
Only if one at a time. I will promise to mute. And as long as Arwin and Ranty can agree to leave you two to talk, I will agree to not interject at all. So yeah, feel free to send the link to Miles.
All right, Miles, I've sent you 2 links. Miles. The first link you can ignore. The second link is the current link. Please join. And don't pass the link to anybody. Let's just have an exclusive chat so we can nail this one issue down. Why did you lie with your elevation at 40 feet? And whilst we're waiting for him to join...
you know, guys, this is kind of your thing, but I really don't get why this is even relevant to anything.
Well, I just want to talk about
detail about the heights. How does that even change?
Doesn't.
Just
a
the
distraction
universal
technique.
observation.
Quite right, Arwin. Absolutely spot on. It's just a distraction technique.
It's a waste of time. It's nitpicking on a detail to try and prevent us from looking at the wider picture.
However, that's not what we've been doing. We've been picking on Miles Davis and his lies about his observation that claimed to see the curvature and how he's lied about his elevation. That's what we were picking on. So while they are saying, why haven't you measured the observation position? We're like, well, we're being critical of Miles Davis's observation, and this is what he measured. So he may not like that measurement now. He may want to extrapolate several measurements to debunk Riley, but that's fine. Is that you, Miles? No. So yeah, in that respect, we're picking on someone else's observation because they've presented the information. We're pulling it to pieces. By coincidence, it's very handy.
Because I thought pretty early on that it was a thing that it wouldn't even matter if it was like 100 feet further up.
Can you hear me?
That it doesn't really matter.
Yes, we do hear you, Miles. Arwin, I'm really sorry to do this to you, but I'd really like Miles and Anthony to just have an uninterrupted conversation. So I'm going to mute if you can do the same.
Okay.
Miles, let's start with the quick one that's easy to address.
Sorry?
Let's start with the quick one that's easy to address.
Can
you see my screen?
All I can see is the sunset at the moment. And the waves. So not your screen.
Just click on his face. Just click on Sleeping Warrior's box and you'll get his locally.
Which one is that? There we go. Okay. Got it?
Okay, so you think that I've not been clear with my position on the elevation of the where I took the picture from?
Well, what I think is that I've in chat had some interaction with you, and obviously the chat scrolls through quite quickly, and sometimes things get missed. But there have been some apparently slightly ambiguous comments that you've made in that, and you've also made comments on various debates, and again, they've not all been seem to me to be entirely clear or consistent exactly what it is you're saying. So What I want to know is exactly what are you saying about the tape measurements that you made?
Now, Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say to Miles my exact position now, and that it's the same position it's always been. It hasn't changed, and it won't be changing unless evidence comes to the contrary of what my position currently is. My current position and my previous position and my future position is the video was taken from 35 feet as per Google Earth. That's it. We went back to measure to see whether or not there was any evidence to support the assertion by the ballers that there was a 30-meter elevation variation.
That's fine. So, sorry, I think someone's just arrived at home, so I'm going to have to stop here for a second. I'll come back to you in a minute. Hi, John. I'm chatting to someone online, so yeah.
Really?
Okay, that's fine. So you're saying that's 35 feet at that point, and you've confirmed that using a tape measure.
We've measured it to see whether the elevation variation of 30 meters either way had any credibility behind it, and we're happy to reassert the position because it doesn't.
That you see, this is where I have an issue. This is where it appears you're not being entirely clear what you've done, because that statement can be interpreted in a number of ways. It's not clear what you mean.
Okay. Whose assertion is it that the elevation can vary by plus or minus 30 meters?
That's a Google Earth statement.
So who cited it as the authority or the citation? Who was it that brought that up?
I can't remember.
Was it the ballers or was it the flat earthers?
I can't remember.
Right.
I haven't followed all of this, so I wouldn't know.
It was the ballers.
Fine. It doesn't really matter.
It does. It matters a lot.
Stuff.
My position, Miles, is that 35 feet is what it gets. And I gave this in the first video and I made it very clear. And Jeremy took issue with it because he said that I tried to distance myself from it. That's not true. That was Jeremy's perception, but he's ran with it. I put 35 feet because that's what it gives in the valley down here. It actually says 33 to 34. And I put 34 in the video. That's where that reference came from. Eventually...
You do know that that's not where you were standing, don't you? Where you've got your hand there.
No. What are you talking about?
So this is quite sloped here. And where you're actually standing is a little bit to the right-hand side. And that's confirmed by looking at the video when you show it, when the video camera points back down the path.
His first video that he released, that was very...
Ranty, just leave them to discuss it amongst themselves.
I'm going to bring the video up, Miles, so that you can tell me how I've got this wrong. So forgive me if I don't agree with you on this at this point.
It's okay, it's fine.
But that, oops, a little bit too far.
Went too far.
So I cited 35 feet according to Google Earth. That's the citation. And then when the video starts...
Yep.
We see that we are just beyond...
Stop it there. Stop it there. That's fine. Stop
just
it there.
beyond the second caravan.
No. Because you're assuming... if you actually look at the poles here, if you actually look at the path, you're assuming that you're very close to this caravan. Cheers, John. But actually, you're not. You're several caravans further back.
No, Miles.
You are.
No, Miles.
And you can see how steep. See the point right in the middle of the shot there is level with that, or roughly kind of level with that first caravan. You can see how the path is steeply sloping up there, and you're standing on the level section, which is further up.
So your position, when I say that I am on this bit here, which is just beyond the second, so let's just flick between the two and let's see if we can. There's the second caravan, which will be that caravan there.
Yeah.
I say I am here.
Yeah.
Because I see this one just to my right. You think that I'm up here somewhere? Miles? Sorry, I don't know what happened and I lost my sound. Are we still here?
No, he just wasn't saying anything.
Is Miles still here?
Yeah, he's still here. I mean, he may have it. He did say, he gave an earlier disclaimer that should there be any awkward questions asked, he had a guest there. So he may have just disappeared and will come back in a moment with an excuse that he has a guest with him when this awkward question is being covered in the most highest of scrutiny and detail, which is what's been lacking from any ball earther so far. They've all accused you of lying. Now we're at the nitty-gritty detail where we're pointing out, no, this is what's been claimed. Nothing has ever changed. Now he's saying, as we started off on debate 76, with somebody saying, you're not at the position you started. We have come full circle. The Globers do what they always do, which is try and bring the argument full circle. And now Miles Davis has dropped unexpectedly. There's nobody in here to snipe him. Nobody has sniped him. I have not kicked him. He's just dropped of his own volition.
I didn't snipe him.
Sorry?
No, he's not been sniped at all.
Miles, you're a liar. You haven't been sniped. There's only 3 people in here.
I've got the
Me,
chat up.
you.
I've got the chat up now. I'm just looking at it. Literally, nobody's removed anybody.
Debate channel left the group chat.
He left. Liar.
Left.
Just a liar.
You're a liar, Miles. You're a
Just
liar
an
because you know
absolute
what
liar.
I'm saying right now on screen is evidenced by this. I'm just beyond the first or the second caravan. So that puts me either there or on the side there because I'm not far enough up the screen to get the other cameras in shot, the other caravans in shot. I mean, that's really straightforward triangulation based on the evidence.
How can he be sniped when nobody has the Hangout link?
Nobody's got the Hangout link and none of us sniped you, and it literally says in the group chat that you left the call, Miles. You are a liar of the highest order. You know, you make Gem Panda look honest.
Why would we snipe you when Anthony's crushing you right now?
He's literally
It makes
got
no
you
sense.
bent over, shafting you with the details that's been so sorely lacking from any of you while you all asserted that he was 100+ feet in the air. Now we've got you bent over and you've just dropped of your own volition and then claimed you've been sniped. You lying little toad. This is what the Globers do. They've basically, for the entire debate thus far, obfuscated the fact that he's at 35 and 52 in terms of his feetage when going up. I use that word deliberately. Anyway, the point is they've tried to obfuscate the point over and over again, and it's been demonstrated to them over and over again, and the claim has been reasserted again and again and again. Oh, Miles is back. I'll go back on mute and shut up.
So he wasn't sniped.
Oh, that's impossible if you get sniped.
Am I back in?
Do you want to correct
that? Would be impossible if you got sniped. So
do you want to correct?
Proved right here that you are
I don't
a
know how
liar.
I dropped out. I had no intention of dropping out. Something happened and I was gone, and I assumed I'd been sniped because I didn't do anything. So I've no idea what went wrong there, but something happened. Okay.
All right, let's get straight back on topic then.
I had no intention of leaving. But
okay, let's get straight back on topic while the iron's hot.
And to be accused of lying again.
Well, you said you were sniped, and now you confirmed you aren't. So we'll just keep it neutral.
So Miles, let's keep this back on track, okay?
Anyway, regardless of exactly where you were on that particular cliff, and I think you were a little bit further along the cliff than you've claimed, but it doesn't really matter. Your assertion is that your statement is that having measured that with a tape measure, you come out to a height that is less than 66 feet.
No, my position is, officially, Miles, my position is we were testing to see whether there was any credibility to the assertion of the ballers that plus or minus 30 meters was in play here.
Okay, so that plus or minus 30 meters is very important, all right? So let's say you got a measurement that was greater than 35 feet for the height of the cliff. That's the cliff to the beach. We know that the height above average sea level, you have to add on quite a bit more because the beach slopes down to where average sea level would actually be. So if you've got a height more than 35 feet, then you are confirming that there is an error in Google Earth, correct?
That is the assertion on our side, that there is an error in Google Earth. Yes.
Oh, right. So you're saying that there is an error in Google Earth. I thought you were saying that Google Earth is accurate.
With regards to the elevation, yes.
You're saying Google Earth is accurate for the elevation.
I'm saying that there is no evidence to support the assertion that the plus or minus 30 meters is in play here.
Okay, so I'll go back to my point, which is that if you got a measurement greater than 35 feet, for that cliff height from the top of the cliff to the beach, you got a measurement greater than 35 feet for that, then that would confirm that there is an error in elevation on Google Earth, would it not?
Depends on how you measure it, Miles. We measured it several times and got varying elevations.
You only get slightly different variations in measurement if you're measuring the same thing repeatedly. You would get difference, maybe a few inches, but you
Sorry,
wouldn't get
why are we talking about this when he hasn't published this elevation and hasn't used this elevation?
I don't care whether he's published it or not, and that's not relevant, Nathan.
Well, he's not relying on it. He's asserted this 3 times. Hold on, can I just get this in, Miles? Because you're being very unreasonable here, in my opinion. What you're doing is you're making him defend something he's not using. His assertion is clear.
I'm not.
The height's being. Let me just get a word in, Miles, please. Please, Miles. I'm trying to say that you're trying to put him on the spot, and his claim has been made and remade about a dozen times on this show alone. His claim is that Google says
that's fine, but the claim that has been made, I am trying to clarify what that claim actually is, because
Google Earth says he's at 29 feet. That's his claim. He said it about a dozen times. He said it 3 times to you on this show. Why do you keep asking him the same time what his claim is?
He said there's no evidence that the Google Earth elevations are incorrect. On the basis of...
It's not what he said. He said that twice as well. You're twisting his words. That's not what he said. He said he went to test the assertion that it's wildly inaccurate. That's what he went to test, and he's happy to say it isn't.
That's what I just said. Okay.
Right. Well, no, you're saying accurate. We're saying not wildly inaccurate. Okay. Now you're trying to tie down that if it's slightly out, then your claim that it's accurate is wrong. Well, you're building up a little straw man, and I'm not going to let you. He hasn't disclaimed anything other than the heights being used are the heights that Google claim. That's it.
You said you wanted to let us speak.
Yeah, but you keep trying to build up a straw man. You're trying to build up a straw man against his measurements. And his measurements aren't being used. Google's measurements are. So you're building up a straw man.
No, I'm not, Nathan.
Yes, you are. You're building up a straw man against his measurements. He's not using his measurements. How many times does he have to say that to you, Miles? He's not using his measurements. He's using Google's measurements.
Okay, Nathan, can we start again? All I want to do is clarify the facts. Now, the point I'm making is, I mean, there is evidence that Google is wildly inaccurate. Did you see my latest video?
No, Miles.
Okay. Well, in the latest video, I show that the Google Earth elevation measure shows the difference in height between the top of the cliff and the bottom of the cliff to be 3 meters or 4 meters. Would you say that those cliffs are 3 or 4 meters high?
It depends on where are you talking. Let's do it live. What are you talking about here? Are you talking about?
I'm talking about the cliffs. It doesn't actually matter which point on the cliffs you go to.
Miles,
would you like me to share my screen and show you what I mean? Would you like me to share my screen and show you what I mean?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm just opening Google Earth, so you'll have to bear with me for a moment. And computer always goes slow when I'm in a Hangout, so it'll take a second or two. But I did this in a video that I published a day or two ago. So we're just about opened up here. I'm going to need to come back and just find the screen sharing thing. Okay, so I'm now sharing.
We seem to have lost sound.
I don't think you have lost sound.
Miles appears to have.
Funny technical issues, yeah.
Miles, have you muted yourself accidentally? Your sound just broke up literally stopped mid-sentence as though you pulled the plug out.
Well, he's not muted.
No, I think he's accidentally pulled his sound somewhat out of his PC or something. And I don't think he can hear us either, actually, judging by what he's doing.
It's just a catalogue of errors with Miles, isn't it? One thing after another.
Go on, turn it off, turn it back on again.
This is just nonsense from a merchant of nonsense. You realise that, right?
Technically, he was correct when he said it was after high tide, but going down towards mid tide. But we're talking 5 centimeters difference. That's what he didn't tell you. So he's playing word semantics here. It was high tide. What's 5 centimeters on a 9 meter tide?
Well, if I was wrong by 5 centimeters, then Jeremy would jump all over it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that he was lying. He knew it was high tide, but
it was high tide.
He used words that wriggled out of it. He was able to say that it was between high and mid tide, which it was.
Making it sound a lot lower than it was.
Yes, exactly. Very tricky and slimy.
I didn't hear a word anybody was saying whilst I was screen sharing for some reason.
I don't know why either. You seemed to go off mid-sentence and obviously couldn't hear us.
Right, I couldn't hear you.
We weren't saying anything, Miles.
Did you see my screen? Did you see what I showed?
You haven't shown anything.
Not really.
You've just shown yourself to be a complete liar. We've got a couple of minutes left.
Try it again, Miles.
Right. Well, I've just clicked screen sharing. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm going to go on to Google Earth. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Right. So if you put the cursor here, you see that the elevation is given as 15 meters. This is the high point on the cliff. 15, 16 meters, depending on where you move it to, or near to the path. If you put the cursor at the bottom of the cliff, it reads 12 meters. Are you really saying that it is accurate to say that there is a 4-meter difference between the beach here and the cliff top here? You've been there. Is that 4 meters?
Miles, do you agree that there's erosion going on the cliff?
If you go to this point here...
I'm sorry, we're building up another straw man, are we, Miles? It seems like you decided to build up another straw man there. You've just now got your hand over the actual location of the video we were discussing, and now you're discussing a completely different point. So yes, yet another straw man by Miles the Liar Davis. No surprises there. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. Every time. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.